ownership of what we're asking him to do. I think he's really worked hard. You can see he's a really conscientious player, but understanding how to work edges on guys versus bump, aggressively attacking the football, and then really just having an ownership of, the system, the things that we're trying to get done, where he fits within the framework of the different concepts. And he's getting better and better. He's making a lot of plays that should give him a lot of confidence. And then there's still things that we can continue to just improve on to really be at the upper echelon. But feel really good about Van. I think he's making a lot of really good progress. Yeah, I mean, in a lot of instances, he does dictate where, people are aware of him, and sometimes they'll put safety help over the top because of that vertical threat. So even though sometimes you might not see the individual production, he's opening up some things. He was in on a play action, and it ends up opening up Darryl for a good check down that he ended up converting for a first down. So I know that he's going to want to get more involved, just like any player would, but he's doing a good job with the things he can control. Yeah, we'll see. Each week kind of is its own entity. Game plan. Yeah, that's what it dictates.
I know that today's usually a rest day for Andrew Whitworth, but is there any update on him?
Yeah, he's making good progress, just a little bit at a time. I think I'll have further clarity as the week progresses, but, he's a little sore like you would imagine, but I think he's making good progress.
Mentioned with a couple of guys that he has past familiarity with, getting into new environments and what that kind of does for a mental makeup of a player. I'm kind of wondering what you guys saw, how you saw maybe Leonard Floyd change in that regard, because he was markedly, dealing with some things in Chicago mentally, and then now comes here and has indicated that he feels like more of himself.
Yeah, I can't speak to what went on in Chicago, Jordan. I just know that since he's been here, he's been a real bright spot for us. So that's why we were so adamant about wanting to get an extension done with him. I think he earned the right to be paid, with the way that he played and the leadership, the production. He's brought so much. And I think just when you look at a relentless competitor snap in and snap out, that, hey, let's just put the tape on. Let's highlight Leonard Floyd and watch the way he plays every single snap, both in practice, in the games, all the things that he brings to the table. And then he's a mentally tough guy. He kind of keeps to himself, but he's very observant. He's taking everything in. He's extremely smart. The game makes sense to him. And, I've loved working with Leonard for these last couple years, but can't really speak on the Chicago experience.
Do you think he's a little bit underrated maybe externally in terms of what he does against the run?
I think he is, but I do think that I think around the league, I think, maybe not from a media perception, but I think coaches, the way that he's seen amongst, players in the league and coaches, I know he's got tremendous respect. And I think that's reflected in all the attention that he got in free agency. There was a lot of teams that were in play for him, and fortunately we were able to get him back. Yeah, I like how tough they are. I like the way that they just continue to fight, make people snap it one more time. I think we've had a handful of critical stops in the red area, whether it's turning the ball over, stopping somebody on fourth down. I think we've got the ability to really play complete in both phases, both the run and the pass. Want to see us continue to put it together, but that's no different than offensively as well. And so I like how opportunistic we are, and I love the fact that some of our best players are shining their brightest at those most important moments, which is definitely was on display with Aaron and Jalen the other night. And so I think there's a lot of good things. I think there's a lot of things that we can build upon, but they're doing a great job through these first 8 weeks or 7 weeks. He's always been such a great communicator. He's always had such a great grasp of all 22, everything that's going on. I just think he's continued to get better. You can see he's really worked at his craft. I think like anything else, he's got such a great way of bringing people together. I think great leaders unite everybody. I think that's one of his strengths, whether it be with the coaches or with the players, helping them reach their highest potential. And then I also think, kind of like I mentioned when Jordan asked this last week, he's got a great way of being able to correct people, but he's really correcting the issue, and he kind of disarms them, and guys are, receptive to that coaching. And he's going to be he's very straightforward, very direct, but he does it in a way that guys receive it because they know he cares about them. It's just like Coach Wood, and they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Raheem's really invested in these guys, these coaches, and I think he's just gotten better and better because of the work that he's put in. And then, that emotional intelligence, I think, is real.
Sean, just with Raheem, he seems to have describing each person individually.
Yeah.
Them quoting him, something he has said about you.
Oh, great.
The little blonde-headed guy gets upset. He always laughs, but I'm wondering, does he say that to you? And if so,
Oh, yeah. Do you think he doesn't say that to me? He says a lot more colorful words than that to me. We're so close. I think one of the best things about Raheem Lindsay, though, he's always going to tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. And we've been friends. We've been close friends for a very long period of time. And so the little blonde guy can get irritable every now and then. Yeah, that's definitely something. That's a nice thing that he says to me. He's definitely saying that stuff to me for sure. What a jerk.
How would you assess where Matthew Stafford is at this point, and what do you want to see, if anything, him do better?
Yeah, I mean, he's done a lot of things really well. I mean, he's playing at a really high level, Gary. I think arguably his most complete game was the other night. And he kind of mentioned, I think his ownership and his accountability that he takes immediately in the midst of a game and things like that make it so easy to move on. The 4th down and 1 play that we had, whether it's, giving Higbee a flat ball or ending up running it, but he immediately comes off. I think it's just the consistency, snap in and snap out. But I think he's playing his best football when it counts the most. I mean, you look at some of those 3rd down conversions. I thought the one to Cooper for 50-plus yards at the end of the 3rd quarter, and then the one to Higbee, that's all, the guys up front protecting, but also him being able to move, manipulate the pocket. He ends up moving the post safety to open up Cooper. Does a great job in the high red area of kind of just moving. Not really a great play call. I thought Higbee did a great job kind of ensuring the throw, but those are the kind of things that I think you really see his ability on display, and he's playing really great. I think it's just more about, all right, each play has its own entity. How consistently can we stack good things together? But when you look at whether it's Matthew or the other best quarterbacks in the league, that position is so difficult. There's inevitably always going to be a couple plays here and there, but you're always striving for that perfection. But I think you always want to be realistic and understanding of how difficult all the different things that you're having to manage. But been really pleased with him. I think it's more about, all right, let's talk about within the framework of each play. But if you said, what's he doing well, I could go on and on about it. There's not many things he's not doing well, and that's a real positive. And I think that's a big reason why we are where we are right now.
Usually by the 3rd quarter or so, in the last couple of games on offense, y'all's top 3 receivers, maybe more, depending on the day, averaging over 10 yards a catch and certainly 10 yards per air target. What about sort of the design that you guys went revisited this offseason, knowing that Matthew's going to push the ball downfield and you wanted to do that, in your own words? What about that? Can you let us in on that process just a little bit on how you guys went about designing these concepts and then understanding where, getting that rhythm and where you need to pick and choose and going out?
Yeah, it's a lot of it is based on the flow of the game, Jordan. These are all, very similar plays or concepts that we've had in before. We're just calling them a lot more. And I think a lot of it, too, is a result of when we're calling them, the guys are having success doing it. And so you want to make sure that, hey, if that's something that our guys are comfortable with, they feel good about executing it, and then the defensive structure enables us to be able to feel like, all right, you can attack or do some different things that you want to get done with the intent of the play. But we have had a lot of those shots. I think in a lot of instances, too, there's been some opportunities where, all right, we're sending guys up, but it might open up some underneath checkdowns. And so, Matthew's ability to be able to see the field so well. I think our linemen's ability to be able to protect, and then our guys, being able to separate. But I think just being more intentional about, making sure that you're giving the defense, more space to have to cover, especially in the pass game where you're saying the width and the depth of the field. And Matthew definitely opens up all that for us. As far as
you're not sacrificing the depth plays for the width plays, you're not going horizontally more than maybe you're going vertically. So
Yeah.
Other than spreading guys out in those empty sets, are there any other things that you guys have been doing that have worked in order to keep those numbers down?
I don't know that we're necessarily looking at depth of the target. I think it's really just being able to keep defenses off balance. And so if you said, do we know exactly when we're going to call some of these plays that come up? A lot of it is based on, all right, sometimes it's a 3rd down and long, and you want to make sure you have routes going past the sticks, but also stuff where it would be a catch convert if you're getting immediately vertical after the catch. But I do think you just want to be able to change it up. It's no different than saying, okay, when you want to marry the run and the pass, being able to give the different things that you have off these run actions in the pass game. And there's a variety of different things that you can present, but no different than that when we're dropping back and throwing the football, making people defend all angles of the cuts. And then, what are the coverages that we're anticipating? And then how can we try to attack those and put guys in conflict?
Do you watch Ted Lasso?
I do.
Great.
Yeah. Do you?
I have, yeah.
If you don't feel good about yourself after watching Ted Lasso, then you got issues.
Sean, you said after the Kenny Young trade that you guys were going to talk about how you may approach that. So this is the first time we've talked to you since then. Is there any more clarity on?
There's always discussions going on. Other than that, really don't have anything to add to it. But, we'll take it a day at a time.
So, I mean, in terms of I'm sorry.
It's okay, Gary, go ahead.
That's okay. When you go ahead.
But you kind of talked about the punt return being a work in progress. Has there been any kind of decision or?
Yeah, it's been a work in progress. I think Cooper's gone back and done a nice job in some of those safe situations. I think, similar to Kevin's question earlier, you always are trying to find ways of getting Deshaun more involved. And if some of those punt return opportunities present themselves, he's so dynamic and he's so unique that was something that you saw him back the other day. We didn't get any return ops there, but and Tutu's a young player. He's got a lot of room to develop and grow. But those are two guys that have established resumes in this league, and that's kind of where we're at with the punt return situation.
Is Tutu where you thought he would be right now, or would you like to see more from him?
Yeah, I think it's hard to say because, in a lot of instances, we've got some depth at the receiving group. I'd like to be able to get Deshaun a little bit more involved, like I've kind of said, and picking and choosing those spots. And kind of similar to Kevin's question, it's based on the game plan, the different things. And then our job is to try to win the football game. And there's different ways that we can do that. And when a lot of our guys get involved, that usually is in alignment with winning the game. But sometimes the way it unfolds or the way it plays out, that doesn't always go in alignment. As far as where Tutu's at, I'd like to see him have a little bit more increased sense of urgency. But, there's a lot of guys that are in front of him that I think are great veteran examples. He's doing some good things. He's working hard in practice. The return opportunities have been limited, and then he's really not, playing at all at receiver for us. So I think you just got to be patient, and he's got to just work behind the scenes. And then when he does get his opportunity, whether it's this week, next week, at some point, he's got to be ready to go. And I know Eric Yarber does a great job at that room. Okay? Thank you, guys.